All right, what's up, everybody? We've got the Pocket Roundtable, or TG3 Roundtable, as we've renamed it, redubbed it. How's it going? It's time. I know I started a little late today. That's because I was taking care of other stuff in the background. But obviously, I came here for a real good reason. And now that we're here, I want to go ahead and actually tackle that topic that I made a while back with the tweet, and I'm actually glad that this tweet caught so much traffic. Only because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really have a solid idea of what I wanted the TG3 Roundtable topic to be this Saturday. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, wait a minute, this caught a lot of traction. So let's go ahead and tackle that subject because I think it's going to be interesting. First of all, for those of y'all who are already in, I know we got 3 viewers. I was trying my best to wait it out for more viewers to show up. But we're pretty much at the 7-minute mark if you count like the wait time and how long we've been on and all the setup behind it. So I might wind up getting into it right here and now. But to give you guys some, we got 6 viewers now. To give you guys some clarification as to what went down with the tweet that I said and aforementioned earlier, basically. I made a tweet shortly after the Serena episode. I want to say like a couple of days after the Serena episode. It was on April 11th. So, yeah, about after the pod, basically. After the pod, I had made a tweet about the Serena episode where I stated after three flops, they treated a return girl good, which is obviously the reference to the fact that out of the 3 girls that traveled with Ash around this point, or at least some of the 3 girls that they reintroduced in the journeys that travel with Ash at this point, Karina obviously being a temporary traveling companion, but Dawn and Iris and Karina were essentially flops for Journey, while Serena was the one return that actually held the most water. Like, it's the one that where her return treated her as an optimal character that deserved some level of respect and had some level of pride to it, that basically held her own as a character. And some people agreed. I mean, it got 266 likes, so obviously there's a lot of people who agreed with it. And then obviously we got a couple of people who we'll just say didn't quite see that same direction. So, what's up, Ty? How's it going? And then there's Koro. Let me actually go ahead and see this. So, lol, Dawn literally flopped. Hello there. What's up? Hey, Koro. Hey, Ty. So, yeah, there was obviously some people who agreed with me. Like I said, we got 266 likes. And then we've got 28 quote retweets that were, more or less not very positive. So I'm going to go read them, but I'm not going to say their names, obviously, for their protection. But it's like, get Karina the blank out of my face. I'm keeping it as blank because I'm going to put it on YouTube, and then we'll upload it later. Get the bug, and then once we get in later on, then I'll be able to say the F word all I want. Get Karina the blank out of my face. Bro, she's nobody compared to the actual Poker Girls. I guess that was the idea of saying like Karina is like outside of the realm of the others, so she doesn't count. What are you on? There's one comment that literally just says, what are you on? So apparently I'm on something. I guess tap water? I don't know. Okay, there was some that were actually kind of like, they had their own take. Like, Dawn Part 1 was nice. Dawn Part 2 was unnecessary and horrible. I will argue that Dawn Part 1 wasn't nice to me either. Dawn Part 3 was good, but Conan? Well, the only time I remember she came back in part 3, like her third appearance, was in the Amazon special, so I'm obviously not going to count that one. That felt more like a Diamond and Pearl episode. It just felt like an additional Diamond and Pearl episode with Go in it. Iris's part 1 was rushed, but I do like it. That's a big problem right there. Karina's part 1 was cool. I'll happily disagree on that one. Karina part 2 became annoying. I agree with that one. Karina part 3 was exactly, yep. And then Serena's was definitely a shock. That again, I said that I made the statement that Journeys actually did a really good job with the writing of Serena. This comment literally just says shut. I'm not sure what that means. It just says shut. Like, there's no clarification. I think they meant like shut up or shut the F up or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. Community is amazing. The anti-poll community is amazing. On one hand, they claim Iris should have won. On the other, when someone criticizes the episode for that reason, they claim the episode was good. Like, pick a side. I wouldn't have minded if Iris had won, actually. I think that would have justified her championship spot, too, personally. Because the problem I have with Iris, and I'll get into that, obviously, later in the part and further elaborate, but I've stated before, the problem I have with Iris is that her championship position in this series only really exists because its existence in the games. Like, the only reason she's the champion here is because she's the champion in the game. I wouldn't mind an original design of Iris's character change. Like, oh, she was wearing like this cool different outfit or whatever, and she becomes the gym leader of the town instead. And she becomes the gym leader. And if she becomes the gym leader, that would have been fine because Best Wishes openly geared the plot towards that. Drayden even says it at the, I want to say at the tail end of her focused episode, her major plot focused episode, where Drayden makes the statement that you may wind up replacing me as gym leader one day. That's perfect. It puts a nice direction towards her character, and obviously her main goal is to be a Dragon Master. I didn't forget that. I just know based on what Best Wishes plot was aiming towards, she would have been better off as a gym leader, and then she could have progressed as a champion later on, even after that appearance or whatever. But for now, I believe her being a gym leader would have been the right direction for her, because what winds up happening, because she's a champion, we get this situation where Drayden just sort of has to spew exposition on Go, who's a character who barely knows who Iris is. He met up with Iris once before this battle starts, and that's because he accidentally threw a Pokeball on Iris's head, because we have to continue that joke. And then what winds up happening is, after that, Go just sort of sits down, and Drayden goes, Iris is amazing. She did all these great things that you can't see, but I'm gonna tell you that she did them. Like, it doesn't really represent her well. It's just sort of a he said, she said situation. So if I had to pick a side, I'm picking that side. I am saying the side that Iris should have won. I am very comfortably seated in the area where Iris could have trained Ash and his Dragonite, or made helps Dragonite become more focused in battle and still beat the shit. They've done that before, actually, with Silent, where Silent does tasting time and Tails Trip about like some of the weaknesses he has, and then proceeds to beat the shit out of Trip. Or the situation where Silent helps Bianca and Juniper do the evolution trick with Kira Blast and Iselgor, only to wind up completely wiping them out afterwards. He's still a gym leader, he still earns respect, and it does show his knowledge and his maturity. So yeah, they could have handled it like that. So that's my side on that. Anyway, we look at the other comments. We see some that literally just say, shut the fuck up. It's just a bunch of use. Really, because the only flop I'm seeing right now is the post. That's an ad hominem attack just to sort of like attack me, I guess, for, you know, having to dare have an opinion on the internet. What's up, Game Shades and Ryan Sword? Let's see, we'll read the rest of these comments real fast. What's up? All right, time to roast Journeys again. Not really a roast Journeys again, mostly an analysis on characters. Were all the quote retweets negative? I don't think they were all necessarily negative, but it's very clear the ones that did get retweeted were aiming more against what I was saying rather than for, and that's fine. You can have a different opinion. What's up, Juju? Well, the Amazon had a DP storyboard and head writer. The BDSP episodes did not. Okay, makes sense. I mean, Iris is like one of Ash's punching bags. Her title sadly doesn't mean anything, even though they battle in the gym. It doesn't help Ash afterwards, battling 3 gym leaders, then an Elite 4. Game Shade says, hey, Iris should have been a gym leader. Yeah, I agree with that. Also, Iris got beat by 2 undeveloped Mons. Again, that's my other argument, which I'll elaborate into later. The fish was gross. And then, what's up, Juju? So, getting back into some of these quote retweets, I just find them interesting. And I don't usually respond to most of the quote retweets because they usually a lot of the quote retweets have quotes that are just sort of ad hominem attacks, and they're not going to build for a healthy, productive conversation. Like, I'm all down for a differing opinion, or I'm down for the ability to someone to come and change my mind. The problem here is sometimes these are just like attacks. Sometimes there's just an indirect ability to attack someone across the computer and type up messed up stuff just to get under my skin, or use shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. A de-evolution of productive conversation, degrading, talking about other people, bad mouthing, rather than it getting anywhere. Sometimes people do legitimately put criticism on my opinion and counter it, and then it does become something productive because I'm able to counter them, and then we're able to at least toss over facts to each other, and then I wind up learning things. But for now, I do still stand on this stance, only because, again, this was my opinion, and there's been nothing to really come up to allow me to go, oh, I didn't see it that way. This one says, leave Iris and Dawn alone. I can't do that, unfortunately, because the tweet was about the returning girls of Pokemon, and Iris and Dawn are the ones that return. Then this other one just says, don't speak on Iris and Dawn. There's a lot of people that are defending Iris and Dawn, funny enough. Not Karina at all. But Iris and Dawn, I guess because Karina wasn't a full-fledged traveling companion with Ash, she just sort of traveled with Ash during like a chunk of the series and then left. And then obviously she came back for like the gym battle, and then Alon fought her, and then they also did a battle with, obviously she showed up at the final battle in Team Flare. Okay, this one says, okay, but seriously, why do people hate these returns so much? They seem fine to me. We're getting into that. So hopefully this person got my tweet and they were able to watch this, because I'm tackling that. Now watch people say all Serena stans are toxic. Oh my fucking god, because of this one fucking take. Okay, so I want to clarify, my tweet isn't the end all be all for all of the Pokemon community, by the way. I hope people aren't seriously thinking that. This was my opinion that I made after the pod, and a lot of people chose to like it, and then other people chose to retweet it, and this person's very upset at my one take on the situation, but I do have justification for why I made that situation. It's not coming out of pure nowhere. It is a direct reference to what I saw. Iris and Karina were good, in my opinion, though I don't like their battles all that much. That's kind of a part of their character, too. I can agree with Dawn's first 2 episode returns, but the third one was pretty solid. Again, the third one was the Amazon special, so I'm not really, like, putting that into account, because you have to have a special condition in order to watch that one. So for those who didn't watch it, they don't even get the chance to see it. Twitter user, oh, this one says my name, Twitter user TG3. I mean no harm. Okay, that's good. But why exactly are you calling the returns a flop? That's what this video is here to discuss. It's their own it's their own uniqueness that you probably don't gonna realize. I think they were probably saying that you don't want to realize it. Which, again, they said I mean no harm, but then they immediately go, you won't realize it, as if I'm less capable of understanding these characters as much as another person who's watching the exact same anime. And that, in and of itself, again, another ad hominem attack, mostly. This is crazy, because even with Serena's cameo, they did the bare minimum with it. Apparently this person doesn't like Serena's return, which is rare. I've heard a lot of people unanimously say, even people who don't like the episode, say that Serena's section of the episode is actually really good. So, there we go. And then I like this one only because someone took my picture and used the context and shifted it in a way towards their direction. I thought that was clever. He goes, you're right, Iris's return was great. Because I never really got specific on which ones were flops and which ones weren't. I just sort of put the 3 up. I never openly state Serena. And that's what's why I think is funny too, is I never actually stop and say Serena. In these pictures that I put, I just say after 3 flops, they treated a return girl good. Now, obviously, if you take that into the context of after 3 flops, and then look at the pictures in the order in which I posted them, Dawn's first, Iris's second, and Karina's third, and then you've got Serena afterwards. So I guess they're reading it in the order that I put them in, which even the order I put them in isn't right. It's supposed to be Karina's first, then Dawn, then Iris. No, Karina's first, then Iris, then Dawn, I believe. I think Dawn came... Did Dawn came before Iris or after? I can't even remember, because Dawn showed up twice. The point I'm putting here is that people have already, like, sectioned off the argument to make it so that I'm immediately in the Serena section, which I am. But obviously the picture is already telling the story better than anything else. So let's read some of these comments. The toxic screenshot merchants. I want to appreciate Ash's accomplishments in the series, but I feel like he hasn't earned them. Exactly. Hate these fake ass Iris fans. That's another thing too, is that we talked about this before, was that with Sophocles and Iris was a situation in the video that we made a while back, where the situation was that Iris and Sophocles were characters that were openly criticized on negative terms a lot of times during both of their debuts. A lot of people didn't like Iris when she showed up, and mostly during the series. A lot of people said that Sophocles and Mallow were the weakest characters in Sun and Moon, yet suddenly when they return, they have fans all over the place. They have people reposting pictures and saying, can't wait till Iris returns, best Unova queen. Then we got people saying, our Alolan boy's coming back, and I'm like, really? He's your Alolan boy, not Kiawe, somebody who was noticeably good as a character and consistent the whole way through? Or not Gladian or something? I don't know. Like, to me, it was very weird that suddenly these characters had a fan base when in their original debut they did not. So again, I find that funny as well. What's up, Joker, by the way? Truth. Dawn had more respect in Wallace's flashback than in her own 8 Journeys episodes combined. I believe that too. I actually made that joke in the reaction video that we did. She was before... Iris was before Dawn. Okay, so I should have switched those orders anyway. So it's not even the right order. If anything, I think it's in reverse. I think it's Karina, then Iris, then Dawn, then Serena would be the last. My bad, Dawn was after Iris. Oh, shit, okay. So it would have been Karina, then... Yeah, my bad, Dawn was after Iris. Okay, so it should have been Karina, Iris, then Dawn. There we go, got it. And yeah, the Journey's bandwagoning. Lol, Sophocles. What's up, Donnie, by the way? Or people saying Serena's development was not good, yet they love her in the episode. Exactly. Like, a lot of people didn't really... I remember back in the day, and during X and Y, everybody said that Serena was an Ash simp, and that they didn't like the fact that her character took too long in order to reach her goal, and yeah, like, there was just all these, like, really just straight up attacks on Serena as a character in X and Y. Suddenly she returns and she's practically flawless. I've liked Serena, and I've made the argument that Serena's not my favorite of the female traveling companions. I like her. I like her a lot. She is one of my favorites. She's not the favorite, and she's also not even my favorite character to return in the layout of Pokemon the series. Like, if we just count all of the series, that means Johto, Diamond and Pearl, AG, all of those. My favorite character return episode is May's return episode. That's actually my favorite. Serena's return episode in Journeys was good. It was a good return episode. I am legitimately surprised that they found a way to properly introduce Serena into the story and give her some weight. But May's return, to me, is the best one. That's the best use of her character return I've seen out of this entire show. Brock and Misty's, if we want to count the other Pokemon girls, Misty's return to me more or less kind of felt like we really need to advertise the fact that Let's Go's out, and the only way we're gonna do it is to have Misty and Brock return, and then that's about it. Like, it's okay, but it doesn't really, like, shake the foundation of Sun and Moon. Like, it never sits and makes Sun and Moon an ultimately better show or does any, like, major effects. It just sort of gives Brock and Misty a chance to meet Ash's Alolan friends, and that about it. Nothing really is, like, majorly gained or lost from it. It just sort of is. That's because Sun and Moon's on that standpoint of a show that doesn't, like, take itself majorly seriously until it's either dealing with a super emotional episode or the League at the very butt end of the series. Once you knock out those two major elements, Sun and Moon's just a show that sort of exists. It's hey, I want to watch Pokemon without any real thing to look forward to. Okay, fine, watch Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon just sort of is like that. The adventure of the day is this. But, or the Solgaleo arc. I'll argue the Solgaleo arc was good. The Necrozma arc was good too. Not as good as the Solgaleo arc. But, anyway, Going back into topic, I'm gonna read a few more quote retweets just because I find them kind of interesting. This one says, "None of them were bad. What do you mean?" Again, that there's no. I have no problem with you agreeing that all of these are good returns in your opinion. I would wish that someone would counter my opinion with some like screenshots or some level of like in-depth criticism of their own. I wouldn't even mind that if someone went out of their way to go, hey, here's my thoughts on your thoughts, and then show me some examples from the show. I am the only one that I can possibly think of, and this isn't me bragging, this is me making an observation. I'm the only one who I can think of right now who, when I say something, I usually put a screenshot up to show the proof of what I'm talking about. That way I'm not just talking out of my ass. In case of Kawane, Koru Suzuki, Midori returned to be Silent and Chuck respectively. But this is the one that's going over the behind the scenes stuff for character returns, voice acting wise. Let's see, what else? Imagine calling these returns bad. Well, you don't have to imagine it. I did. I already put it. Let's see, what else we got? Kite. Well, this is the same one that we've seen before. None of these flops, though, especially Iris's return. Again, I'm argued against it, and again, I further elaborated on it. Here's the last one. 100% on that. The biggest. Okay, this one we know this person. It's Xenoleague Blaze. We know who Xenoleague Blaze is. The biggest problem is the stuff with Ash and Wallace. That should have been an entirely different episode so we could fully focus on Serena and Chloe. I agree with that. Okay, that one's on an agreement, but that's someone that we all know in the Pokemon community. Xenoleague Blaze, we know who that person is. So, yeah, but that's all the quote retweets. And Sun and Moon, the fake anime school, or the fake school anime. Yeah, that one. But I want to hear it. Like, I went into it like this, and I want to tackle Iris's first, because that's the one that, she technically is first chronologically. No, I think Karina's is first chronologically. Yeah, Karina's is first chronologically, I'm sorry. So, Karina's is first, and a lot of people wonder, well, why do you not like her return? Why did you think her return was bad? Well, first of all, one of the big things you have to look at is the battle that Ash had with Karina and the build up to that battle. I don't know who that is. Orion Zora. But Karina's this one, by the way. The blonde-haired chick with the roller skating outfit in the Lucario. What's up, Red Dragon? So, why did I say Karina's return was a flop? Why did I? Because remember, Karina was the first XY character to show back up. And let's look at her return. When she first shows up, she mostly serves as, the only piece that she serves at this point is for two major things. One, she's another opponent that Ash can fight in the Pokemon World Championships to get his number to go up. And two, she has a Lucario and Ash has a Riolu, so it gives Riolu something to look up to, right? And as you can see, in XY we spent about 6 episodes of build up for Karina's gym battle because she temporarily traveled with the group for a while in order to go through the Mega Evolution Master Trials and gain a bond with her Lucario. So a lot happened with her, and they introduce her relatively early in Journeys at this point. She's in, I believe because of beating her, Ash makes it to Super Class. He's like in normal class and goes up to Super Class. And in the fight, obviously we know in her first fight in the gym battle, Ash was using Pokemon like Hawlucha and Fletchinder who have type advantages against her and her Minfu and her Machoke. And in that battle, it's perfectly even 3v3. And Pikachu had already had experience fighting Lucario prior because the two trained against each other. Ash, literally almost every episode with Karina in the group, traveling with the group, was Ash and Karina having practice battles. They would practice with each other. So Pikachu sort of gained a rivalry with Lucario. And they practiced against each other several times. And they were just training out and, they got a feel of what was going on. And Karina then slowly is able to gain her bond with Lucario. And then after the summer camp arc, Ash returns back to Shalour and they have their fight. And both Fletchinder and Hawlucha are able to do some damage to Lucario before ultimately getting knocked out. So Mega Lucario does beat 2 Pokemon before that. And then Pikachu comes out, and Pikachu's already amped because this thing fought Lucario multiple times. It's well versed in how it fights, and it's put itself up to max against this thing. So when the fight is over, you can feel its deserve. You feel that. You feel it. There's like a strong impact. It's like you can very well tell that while Lucario does lose that fight, he does prove himself by beating Fletchinder and Hawlucha the fight before it. And he gained that way, and he's still getting used to Mega Evolution. It's like, I would argue it's probably their first major battle with Lucario as a Mega Evolved Lucario. And Pikachu and Lucario have a pretty decent rivalry. Ash has had Pikachu for a long time, so Ash's bond with Pikachu is very understandable to Korrina and Lucario's. The two fought their damnedest, and the show has, and the battle has some narrative weight on it, some narrative meat on its bones. Compare that to the battle they have later on. Ash caught a Dragonite very recently. It doesn't really understand him. It's not focused in the fight for real at all because it just sort of is there and is mostly happy just to be there. And then, like, by that time that Ash gets a full grip on what's going on, we're running a podcast right now, Juju. So when Ash gets a full grip of what's going on and has Dragonite fight Lucario, Mega Lucario to the very least, a now more seasoned Mega Lucario in the time that Ash was in Alola, it's very clear that Lucario should be more than strong enough to not only wipe out Ash's Gengar, but more than likely that Dragonite too. Like, this isn't a Dragonite that's been kept by a trainer for a long amount of time. This is a newly obtained one. And for some reason, it wins. It combines Twister with Dragon Dance or some shit. And while that is a good combo, and it's a good way to see it, Lucario ends up losing that fight, even after Minfu evolved into Minchao. Or is it the other way around? I think is it the other way around? Whatever. What up, Goggles? Korrina loses. Now, again, you can make a good fight, have Korrina lose, but the problem here is that it's not even a good fight. The fight ends very briefly, and the way the fight is laid out, it doesn't do Korrina any justice. She loses, like, very quickly because Ash just sort of pulls something real quick as a last-minute strategy to keep Lucario at bay. And again, this happens so damn quickly, the battle doesn't feel as earned as when you watch it. Like, you watch that battle and then go back and watch the fight that Ash had with Korrina in their official gym battle, and then you look at this and go, wow, Korrina really got shortchanged here, because the battle's not good. It's not a good looking battle, and the reason they obviously do that is because they got to cram all that into one episode, whereas opposed to the gym battle that actually took place, that gym battle was the entire episode, where here we got to do introductions, we got to do all these minutiae of things before actually starting the fight, and then the fight's a 2v2, and in order to make Lucario look good, we have it knock out Gengar, and then that's about it. Minchao pretty much does nothing to fight. It's in the fight and gets some good hits in on Dragonite. Enough hits to where you would argue that Lucario should be able to wrap it up because Minchao's beating the tar out of Dragonite at this point. But because Ash has to win this fight, Dragonite just wins. But then we go into later episodes where we see that B knocks out Korrina as well too, to show off the fact that B is the new Galar trainer that's introduced in Sword and Shield. And now that she's in Journeys, she has to be better than Korrina because they're both fighting type gym leaders. But B is the new hot shit right now. So because she's the new hot shit, she has to be better than Korrina. So that's disingenuous to all the training that Korrina did. That makes her look bad. And B even goes out of her way to say she's too soft. Or she's not, like, basically she's not strong enough. So Korrina gets insulted when she's not even technically in that episode. Except for, like, a flashback. So for the sake of the show, Korrina has to lose twice undeservingly. Because the show just needs to show that this is the new fighting type gym leader threat. Not that old one from that old show. And then to further exemplament on all of this, after Ash winds up losing to Bee, he loses to a bunch of randos with cephalopod Pokemon. Cephalopod Pokemon being octopus or jellyfish-like Pokemon with tentacles. When he loses to them, Ash gets bumped back down to normal class, which means that entire fight that Ash did with Karina is practically pointless, because he's back down to the same rank he was before he lost to Karina. So now, not only is Karina's match shortchanged, not only is she shortchanged because Lucario ends up getting beat by Pokemon that Ash just caught, not only is she insulted by Bee on 2 occasions, then Ash is bumped back to normal class, meaning you can skip that whole fight and Ash would be back in the exact same class he was in before the fight. So in 4 instances, Karina gets completely shatted on for no other reason than this happened. The only net gain out of all of this is Riolu gains some type of admiration for Karina's Lucario because it's the evolved form, which Pokemon does that a lot anyway, where, oh, my Pokemon is the evolved form of your Pokemon, and your Pokemon's still a baby, so it's gonna look up to my Pokemon because my Pokemon is what your Pokemon is gonna be. Which, you can argue, it's nice interaction, but that's like the only thing it's got going for it. Even in the episode itself, Karina states, hey, we had a really good gym battle, and Ash just goes, I won. And Karina's like, that's all you're gonna focus on? So she gets insulted again, despite the fact that before all of that, during their first debut, Karina actually beats Ash when they first fight. Karina's Lucario gets the upper hand on Ash's Pikachu in several of their practice fights, and it's very clear that at the state that they're in, Karina's stronger than Ash. He goes to the camp to train and then come back better using Tyranno's dancing style. But we can't focus on all of that because that would require us to dig into the narrative of XY. Ash doesn't even state, oh, Karina was a tough gym battle or anything, or I almost wound up losing that gym fight because of how strong Mega Lucario is. No, he just goes, I won, yeah. Like, it's disingenuous to Karina, and it's disingenuous to that episode. But let's read the comments. I feel like Maylene would have made more sense since Sinnoh was in the horizon and Riolu's aura is more akin to martial arts instead of just being Mega Lucario. Ash doesn't have the identity his entire team build, it's just discount Smoggin. Karina is pretty important in the show too. She helps Ash get Mega Evolution. We're gonna tackle that actually. It's sad because she becomes a outlier in Journeys. Basically, no threat to Ash when she's essentially started over. Let's see what else. So guess we can accept Dragonite to have a perfect win streak since it can take on powerful mons. He battled Visquez underling in a great class in Journeys episode 30. That his first one, Sumo for Alligator, cries and waits. Ash's team here don't really go together. Alright, so yeah, I mean, and that's the major problem too, is that it feels like when Ash needs to get development for his Pokemon, it's mostly within the context of, oh, right now we need to develop them, rather than slowly building up to them over time. Now, obviously you all are wondering, well, what about Karina's second debut during the Mega Evolution Island, or whatever that is? Well, what they decide to do there is Karina just goes, yeah, I can help you get Mega Evolution. Come with me to this random island where the Lucario Knight apparently is now. And here, I'll just give you a keystone rather than one being made and, you know, having to do all the shit that Karina did in order to get it. It's just made, and it's just given to Ash right off jump. And it makes Karina's journey for Mega Evolution seem shortchanged. It makes it feel like she had to do ultimately more to get what Ash is pretty much given at jump. And then we go into that episode, and if you look at that episode after she takes Ash to Mega Evolution Island, there's nothing Karina actually really does. Like, she just sort of is there pointing the way. Ash had a tailor-made glove already waiting for him. MacGuffin's Island, pretty much, yeah. And when she's there, she doesn't really do anything. In fact, I don't think Lucario winds up making an appearance in that episode. At least hers doesn't. Ash's does. She's just sort of there to just sort of watch over things. When Ash goes off to get the Mega Stone, she's like, all right, I'm here. And then that's about it. She serves no real purpose. She exists. Okay. She finds out that her grandfather's the one that's the Mega Evolution Guru. Okay. And then they go back to go fight Bee. Okay. And then nothing happens of important value. And then, once she shows up to see Bee, what they're trying to do is like decrease the tension between Karina and Bee. Because this is Ash's time to fight Bee now, and they can't really measure that up if, Ash's main opponent is Bee, but Karina's still here. And Karina mostly at this point is here for moral support, which I will give Journeys a point for that. She didn't have to show up after helping Ash get the Mega Stone. So it is good that she shows up at least to support Ash. But then after that, she becomes a complete Bee fangirl. She's like, oh, Bee, we're best of friends. We've always been best of friends. We always have been. Didn't you know? Of course we are. The show made us best of friends as of this episode. So we always had memory of being best of friends, regardless of the fact that the series, last time it referred to you and me in the same spot. You whooped my ass and then called me soft. But here, we're the best of friends we always have. We've been good buddies. We're BFFs for life, girl. Like, it doesn't... What's up, Zach? It doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like she has to basically, like... Because Bee's presence is here, and because Bee exists, now Karina has to be the side chick girl. She has to be the underling. She has to be the one that grovels at Bee's feet. Why? Because Bee's here now. And Karina's here in the same spot. And we have to show that Bee's better. So the only way that happens is Karina has to like go, girl, I got you some chocolates, girl. Like, it doesn't really help her character. It just sort of is there to add an extra layer of fluff to Karina's bio page. And Bee was absent for 46 episodes, pretty much an entire year. But now we have to tackle this, and now Karina has to be Bee's best friend, even though she's never mentioned Bee before prior to this. So it just feels like this uncomfortable, oh yeah, we're definitely friends now because the show needs us to be friends right here, right now. And that doesn't help Karina's case at all. And after that point, she just becomes a glorified cheerleader to Ash, or an exposition piece to sit next to Go. And I'm sorry, exposition pieces to Go don't count as good characters to me. That just shows, that's just another character that's sitting by Go's side telling him some shit that happened in Ash's fight. Which Journeys has been on that a lot recently, where Go sits down and watches Ash fight somebody he either fought before or somebody who's a part of the tournament, and then they have to spew all these words of exposition. And if there's nobody to spew exposition, Go just sort of sits there and compliments on how strong Ash is. And that's not, for a good formula, that does not make. It mostly just becomes repetitive. Anyway, Mega Evolution's effects on Pokemon is also shortchanged as well, which makes Karina's Lucario more weak-minded. What, you don't beat your friend's ass one day and be cool with them the next? Yeah, you just... Also, it feels completely one-sided. Karina states that her and Bee are best friends, or like great friends, but Bee never mentions that when she talks about, when Ash talks about Karina during the time that she lost. When Ash brings up Karina, she goes, yeah, she was soft. And then after that, Bee never compliments on, yeah, Karina's soft, but it's also her soft that's made me open up or anything. Why is that the case that Bee never mentions Karina at all? She never mentions Karina. She never compliments on how strong her Lucario is. She never admires the perseverance that her and Lucario have. She doesn't admire the bond that her and her Lucario has. She doesn't really even talk when Karina's in her space. it just feels like a one-off side plot that they decided to tack on to Bea and Karina to give them a little bit more of a fluff of personality. But that doesn't help her character, it just adds to her bio page of people that she associates with. So yeah, after all the things that I just stated from that fight alone right there, it's a flop. To me, that is considered a flop. And let me break down a template of what I believe makes for a good character return. A good character return is able to show off that the character is really good at whatever they do, to show this level of maturity, to show if the character is different in a way to their first debut where they were incompetent or at their lowest form of character development, to when they come back and they're at their highest form of character development. They've earned something, they've gained something, they're able to use their knowledge in order to teach a new character something, or allow a new character to become better or relate to something that's currently happening, is able to fully balance out and waver the old and the new. Oh, I am an old character, yes. However, I have some knowledge, wisdom, battle skill, development, something that I can bring to the table that helps make my character look just as good back then as it is now, or if anything, exemplify how much I've grown over the years. Karina does not seem like a character that grew over the years. She was given a state of contention, stopped at XY when the show was officially over, and then brought back as nothing more than a remembrance piece for Ash to refer to, kick the shit out of, and then for Bea to kick the shit out of, only to show that they're stronger people than Karina's Mega Lucario. And that's not good character development. That's not endearing. That doesn't make for a good return to me. What it does is that it shows that Karina was just a piece that had familiar elements to it that the others could stomp on to show that these are the stakes and that this is the tension and this is as strong as things are going to get now because we faced these problems before, but those problems aren't as important as these problems. Only difference is that these problems are promoted by A, the new gimmick that Pokemon is introducing, or B, we need to make this trainer look exceptionally strong to give tension and a rival to Ash, but we need to knock down this other character in order to do it. And that's not good to me. That's not a good return. I feel like Mega Lucario defeating Gigantamax Machamp would have been more rewarding if such Mega Lucario was Karina's, not Ash's. Exactly. So that's my take on Karina. During the entirety of the series, she's only shown off as a piece because Mega Evolution exists, and Ash's Lucario just happens to be able to know how to do Mega Evolution as well. But again, besides leading Ash to the island, she doesn't really do anything. And a lot of Karina's accomplishments are completely mitigated here in Journeys, just simply because there's a bunch of characters that do her job better. Or she has to lose for the sake of progression, which isn't good. I think Brock's might be the best so far. Brock's appearance, his return is nothing more than a cameo. It doesn't really have an effect on the show at all. Or him. He's just, if anything, it's kind of bizarre. It's weird that the fact that Brock, at one, listens to podcasts on a normal basis. I mean, that's fine. I guess that makes him realistic. And two, I don't like the fact that he likes Jesse's voice, despite that he's heard Jesse's voice before. But now suddenly he's in love with Jesse's voice. But I'm not even, that's a whole can of worms of itself. But let's tackle the next return. I believe Iris would be next, right? Alright, so Iris's return. Again, we talked about Iris's return before, especially earlier in the video, but let's get into it. Again, I will say one point that I will give Journeys is the idea that Iris is able to talk with Ash's Dragonite on a personal level. I do like that. Ash's team currently has 2 Dragon-type Pokemon on it. So as a Dragon Master, I like the idea that Iris is legitimately speaking to the Dragon-type Pokemon, or to the very least Ash's Dragonite. It showed that she's able to quail Dragon types and talk to them in a way in order to understand them. That is good. That is 1 point. That is worthy of a thumbs up. I like that element because that element shows that Iris is able, this is a far cry from the same Iris that wasn't able to speak with even her own Pokemon. Her Emolga was a mess. It kept retreating with Volt Switch. Her Escadrille wouldn't listen to her. Her Axew barely knew any attacks. This is definitely a one-up. Her Dragonite didn't even listen to her at the beginning. This is definitely the Iris we want to see. The problem here is that all of it is rushed. It's one episode long, and what it essentially is Drayden telling Go, someone who's only met Iris once, very briefly, and it's Drayden basically spewing out a bunch of, hey, Iris is good, she's a champion, she did all this stuff while she was away from Ash, she's amazing, she's great, she fought all these great trainers and became powerful and powerful and powerful and more powerful, she even evolved her Axew into Haxorus. How does that all wind up coming to a conclusion? Well, she gets her ass whooped by two Pokemon that Ash just sort of got. I wouldn't have minded if Iris had won this fight to show that, wow, there's other champions here, and they're strong, and even people that Ash is associated with in his past are going out of their way to become much stronger. And Ash can't keep up, or to the very least, he's lost sight. Look at his Pokemon. Dragonite is way too happy in order to completely focus on fights. Dracovish is a mess within and of itself, mostly simple-minded, and so Ash doesn't have any real control over it. Yeah, for the most part. And then his Farfetch at this point was a little arrogant too. It was a little too arrogant. Thankfully, after the Farfetch development episode, it gained more respect for Ash, but that's only because it lost to Gallade in a couple episodes before that. So it's very clear, though, that in the format this is going, Ash is slipping. The motif should have been that Ash is slipping. And Iris is going to knock his ass back in humility and let him realize, you may have been champion in one league. Oh, and Gengar's barely around. Thank you. You may have been champion in one league, but you've got a lot to learn about being a Pokemon trainer still, Ash. And it seems that you've lost sight of that. That's what this should have been. This should have been a level of humility. This should have been a moment where Iris can legitimately teach Ash what it means to actually have Dragon-type Pokemon and use them effectively in battle. But that's not that. Axew evolves, yes, which is to show that the small Pokemon is now the big Pokemon. But as of right now, Haxorus only winds up beating Dracovish. And then that's about it. And then afterwards, it completely loses to Dragonite for no other reason than we can't afford for Ash's newest Pokemon to lose. Can Dragonite still learn the lesson that Iris was teaching it and then still lose the fight to show, oh, I may have lost, but I become better out of this loss and I can help Ash become better as a trainer now that I've been talked to by this girl who understands Dragon-type Pokemon. That's what could have been. That's not what happened. Instead, a Pokemon that Iris has, Dragonite, who has a lot of character development coming from a Pokemon that learned to be humble, completely gets one-shotted by Dracovish, which is completely disingenuous towards Iris's training of her being a champion with a champion-style Dragonite, losing to a Dracovish that Ash has barely any knowledge about. The episode prior to this one, Ash just learns that Dracovish has Water Gun of all moves. This is a move that he literally just learns that Dracovish has, and suddenly he's like, okay, I barely use this Pokemon in effective battle, but with no training whatsoever, I'll go ahead and use it, only for it to completely one-shot a Pokemon that has tons of experience. And a lot of people make the argument, oh, well, Dracovish is a new Pokemon, and it was an unexpected move, and blah, 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 blah. I'm not counting that as a viable excuse, considering the fact that if Iris is such a good champion, then that means she's fought tons of Pokemon that she doesn't have knowledge of. She's fought tons of adversities that she was unknowing of. And she's fought tons of situations where she's at a disadvantage. Hell, Langley alone had a Beartic on our team and other Ice-type Pokemon. And Dawn had Mamoswine, and Dragonite still found a way to beat those with a type disadvantage. And those were Pokemon that Iris didn't traditionally fight at first, except for the Beartic she fought with Escadrille. But Mamoswine she had no clue of, so I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm not going to use it as a viable excuse. Trainers face different types of strategies, combos, new Pokemon, new status conditions, new effects, new gimmicks every day. So if she earned her title as champion so badly, to the point where Drayden has to tell Go all of this information, then she should be more than capable of handling a new situation, such as fighting a Dracovish. She doesn't understand much about Dracovish, but she does understand Dragon-type Pokemon. So I fully believe that Iris should have been able to beat Dracovish despite being surprised by it. Dracovish just disrespects Mamoswine, Beartic, Crocodile, and Charizard with that one Ice Fang. We don't count Charizard since it's not a Dragon-type Pokemon. Iris to Ash, ideally your title doesn't mean that your roster or privilege or prestige. Again, that episode even contradicts Journey's 28 since Ghost saw Sobble's moves in the Pokedex, so Ash could have done the same too. Journey's contradicting itself, typical. Just to show the anime writers still don't care for best wishes. Again, like I said, it did a good job of showing the maturity of Iris being able to speak to Dragon-type Pokemon. That's one point in its favor. But what it unfortunately does is that it rushes through all her development with Drayden explaining it all. Iris doesn't even go through the ability to tell Ash and Go what she's been up to. All of this is explained through the eyes of another character who supposedly was just watching her progress the whole goddamn time, I guess. And so she doesn't even get the chance to explain the trials and tribulations she's been through. She never gets that opportunity. She fights, yes. Then she talks to Dragonite, which is good. But after that, she just loses. It's never referenced again. Iris never goes in and sticks around with the group in order to help Ash train his Dragon-type Pokemon, or help Go train his Dragon-types, or catch some Dragon-types in order for experience. She never lends a helping hand in any of that. She requests a battle, calls Ash a kid despite the fact that she's learned from that lesson in Best Wishes to stop doing that. And then, goes through all the trouble of explaining that her Axew evolved into Haxorus, only for it to get completely stomped in a battle with a Pokemon that she barely has any knowledge of. Or Ash has barely any knowledge of. She's never really referred to again. She's supposed to make a comeback again, but for what reason, we don't know. Again, her only goal here was to show up, speak to one of Ash's dragon Pokemon, and then immediately lose a battle. It doesn't and then that lesson is a one and done. It happens and then goes away. We never refer to it again. We never come back to it. And like I said, the only thing we have to look forward to it at this point is if Iris shows up one more time, which she will because we see it in the opening. And at this point, it's just damage control. So again, I'm counting Iris's return as a flop. That is a flop to me. With the only thing you got going for you is the fact that you evolved a Pokemon only for it to completely get shattered by a Pokemon that barely is trained with Ash. That works against you. If anything, it makes it worse. If it was still an Axew or at least a Fracture, I would have understood it getting its ass whooped to Dragonite then, because then Iris could be like, damn, we still got a lot to learn. And then in Haxorus, once Haxorus shows up, it can completely annihilate it, showing that it's powerful. But it doesn't. That never happens. So again, another flop. Let me read the comments. They could have spent the episode trying to hype up Dragonite to get the audience to reconnect to Iris for the up and coming battle. And in the next episode, no, rush that shit. Oh, they're like, no, rush that shit. Imagine Iris helping you get a Dino or a Druddigon. Helping Go get a Dino or a Druddigon. But not Pub. Just remind us that Iris got screwed over for not catching them. Again, so I consider that a flop. That is my justification for saying that in and of itself is a flop. So, we move on to our next character, Dawn. Now, this one's the one that got a lot of people heated, and I can't really understand why. Some people actually agreed with me. Some people will reach the middle ground with me. But it's very clear that Dawn's appearance to me, not even just within Journeys, in the series, has been the worst return I have seen. Dawn's return in Journeys, to me, is worse than Dawn's return in Best Wishes. That's right. I liked Dawn better when she returned in Best Wishes. In Best Wishes, she evolves her Cyndaquil into Quilava, which shows that she's actually getting somewhere. She enters the Pokemon World Championships, which I don't know why she's entering that, but she's there, I guess. But it does show that it gets Ash's interest, so at least she has something to offer Ash. Like, hey, yo, look, I'm offering this to you as a chance to show, hey, there's a tournament that you can compete in, which will give you a chance to, figure out a little bit more about battling or whatever. So she does bring something to the table at least. And then she talks with Iris because Iris is having trouble training her Dragonite. Iris goes, yo, the thing your Dragonite is going through is the exact same thing that my Mamoswine went through. Here's some ways to better understand your Pokemon. Oh, look at that. Dawn at least passes her knowledge on to Iris and helps her in her training. She has relevance. There's a key reason. There's something that they can relate to. She's showing that she's an experienced trainer who's gone through the same problems, and she's giving Iris the advice, and she sees that there's a cautionary situation. So Iris is able to actually take some level of control in this situation. It makes her look good, and it helps Iris get better. That's a good return. What does she do in Journeys? Like, legitimately help me figure this out. I'm not even trying to be disingenuous towards her as a character. I'm literally explaining what I see, and what I see is that in Best Wishes, she at least had some level of brevility. I need to speak. She has some level of use and brevility, whereas in later, she doesn't really do anything in Journeys. She shows up because her Piplup smells some soup that Koharu and Eevee made, drinks the soup, and then Dawn comes in, trips, falls completely on her ass, and then she gets up, says that my Piplup didn't want to evolve, so that's why my Piplup's the way it's being, which you could argue that was Dawn's way of saying your Eevee doesn't even have to necessarily evolve to get anywhere. It can stay the way it is. But no, that lesson isn't portrayed. She just talks about her Pokemon. It's not even in an advice way. She just tells her what happens. Yo, my Piplup stayed a Piplup because it didn't want to evolve. And I guess you can argue that Koharu's probably thinking, my Eevee probably doesn't even have to evolve. But that's going out of your way to imply that. Which, again, that's mostly Koharu development, not Dawn's. And then after that, Dawn immediately goes off and goes, yo, yeah, I've competed in a bunch of stuff. I've been to Unova, I've been to Hoenn, I've been to Sinnoh, like, I've been to all these great places. And she's like, I've been all over. And then she just shows Koharu a Whirlpool, which is not even the best appeal. She's just like, look. And then Koharu goes, that's neat. And then after that, even before all of that, what ends up happening is they go off go to the contest in Eterna City, and when they head towards Eterna City, Dawn is a complete jackass the entire time. She gets distracted by every last little thing, like no matter when she shows up, and Koharu doesn't even respect her at this point. She thinks she's annoying. She just straight up thinks that she's a distraction. She's like, yo, we need to get to Eterna City. And Dawn goes, nah, it's all good. We can get there when we get there. Here, enjoy these flowers. Here, enjoy this lake water. Here, enjoy this fucking Badoo. She never at any point gives anything to Koharu to make her want to, follow her. If anything, Koharu starts to regret it and argues with this woman. These two legitimately have a fight. This is supposed to be the character that Koharu is supposed to look up to in order to become a better character for this Journey show. Yet she can't even agree with this woman. This is absolutely terrible. A job as a traveling companion is supposed to, that's returning, is supposed to be something that the other characters look up to so that they can, help develop their character. I don't think Koharu legitimately gains anything from Dawn. She watches her do an appeal with the Whirlpool, Okay. And then after that, she just sort of goes, that's neat. Like she's like vaguely impressed by it. But that's in the middle of them having to take care of a Cresselia. And then you can argue that she does do some bandage work on Cresselia, which she learned from Brock. But that more or less just shows that Brock's the better character. Brock wound up getting more development than Dawn in the Dawn fucking episode when Brock wasn't there. She just goes, I learned some stuff from Brock, which allows Koharu to go, I don't know who this Brock person is, but I guess he's important. And thank you, Ty, for pointing that out. The point, some people have argued with me when I made that point, that Dawn's point of the story was to show that you don't need to be hell focused on everything that you need to do right now. Sometimes you can just live a little and smell the roses and be free. Be carefree. It would also allow you to be more, to hold your ground more when you actually do make the important decisions because you took the time out to relax. I get that. I can stand behind that. That makes sense. The problem is that it's not done effectively enough for me to fully believe that that's what Dawn's trying to portray. She never goes out of her way to teach her that lesson. And in addition, that's not even Dawn's character development. That doesn't fall in line with her character at all. I may not like Dawn as a character, but I at least understood her character development in Diamond and Pearl to realize that there was development there. When Dawn starts her journey, she starts it off very much like how she does in Journeys. Well, in this episode of Journeys, she is a mess. She gets lost easily. She doesn't have full grip of the situation. She argues with Piplup multiple times. She tries to catch Pokemon that are already caught by trainers. She winds up as a scatterbrain. She ends up like not being able to effectively communicate with Professor Rowan. Like, she is a mess the entire time. And she always rationalizes this all through the statement of her catchphrase, no need to worry, or daijovu as Japanese says it. So the idea is that Dawn is laying things aside so that she can be carefree, so that she can aim towards what she wants. But later in the series, Dawn learns that she needs to be more focused. Her lack of focus is what's been causing her to get to not work effectively as a coordinator. She starts off getting past the appeal round at the first contest, and it lets it get to her head. So then she becomes more carefree to the point where once things start becoming real, she starts losing contests. She even winds up losing 2 in a row. And it's because she's not focused. She keeps assuring herself that there's no need to worry, no need to worry, no need to worry, no need to worry, when in fact, she should be worrying a lot. She needs focus. So I find it very hard to believe that once she learns that level of focus and learns to lock down and learns to stick to the goal of her being a character, yes, she can balance that out with some level of carefree attitude. But for the overall core of her character, Dawn, at least in Diamond and Pearl, ends the series more focused than when she began the series. So it baffles me how in her return in Journeys that she goes through the motif of going, oh, you can just be carefree, throwing caution completely out the wind. No need to worry, no need to worry, no need to worry, no need to worry. That is completely disingenuous to her character. And it definitely shows that it's not gaining any merit of respect. If this is a lesson that she's trying to teach Koharu, then why is it that Koharu doesn't agree with any of it? We never even reached that moment in the episode where Koharu goes, I guess you're right. Maybe sometimes there is no need to worry, Dawn. Or maybe we don't need to always be focused and tense. Maybe if we just relax, Eevee and I'll find our goal that way. No, that lesson is never taught. And it never falls in line with what Dawn's character development was. Usually when a character returns, they're basically returning as a better version than they were when they left out. Or at least we get to see how their character development comes to fruition. We get to see that character is way better than when they had started. I don't know how many people are familiar with the series How to Train Your Dragon, the movie series How to Train Your Dragon. But if you see at the start, Hiccup's a mess. He's nervous, he's young, he's incapable. But by the time you watch the last movie, he's a full-on Viking who's able to make immediate decisions. He's able to learn all of his dragons effectively. He's able to guide them. He's able to understand and speak with them. He has returned as a much more competent person. Here, we don't see any of that. We don't see that Dawn's better. We don't see that she's worse, but we definitely don't see that she's better. In fact, we see that her Piplup can't even hold its own against a Rhydon in a wild fight, or hold its own against Rhyperior against the Team Rocket grunt later. It's very clear that if there's a trainer that's supposed to be stronger and take control here, then this ain't it. Ash and Go are the ones that have to wind up saving them from that fight. With Dawn doing very little but telling Piplup to use Bubble Beam, and then Eevee copying the Bubble Beam and beating out the Rhydon and the Rhyperior. So Dawn doesn't even do a good job in and of itself to show that she's better. She just sorta is there. She's almost interchangeable. You could have replaced her with literally any other character and it wouldn't have made a difference. So again, that's a flop. But obviously, we've got video games to sell. So Dawn needs to make one more return. And that's where we cut to her second appearance in the Journey series, when she loses her fucking Piplup. That's correct. The reason Dawn calls Ash is because apparently she doesn't know how to handle situations by herself anymore. Now, the reason I say this is because she literally goes out of her way to tell Koharu during her first appearance, I've traveled to Hoenn and Johto and Unova. I've done contests all over. Then you should be more than capable of being able to defend yourself. But the split second your Piplup gets kidnapped, Ash, come quick, you'll never believe it, my fucking Piplup's stolen. This is the trainer that we're looking up to? And don't get it wrong, I'm all down for a character being able to actually call their friends in for some help, or at least some investigation on what's going on. You can even argue that the reason that she called Ash and Go over there is because she's confused on the situation. But in no point do we have any level of recognition that Dawn has any knowledge that Ash has or has been exposed to the situation that she's been in. So how do you tackle this situation? Dawn's Piplup gets kidnapped by another Dawn, which makes her confused. But obviously she would try to do some research on it. The episode would have been a lot better if they had all, went to the library to discover more things about some of the distortions that are happening in Sinnoh. And when they do that, we see that Dawn's there too, just trying to figure it out. And then Dawn could have said, I'm doing research on the same thing because I swear my Piplup just got stolen by someone who looked just like me in a wormhole. Then Ash and Go, oh, we've been trying to discover wormholes because we've heard that there's a bunch of distortions happening in here. We figured some Sinnoh Pokemon were behind it. So Sakuragi sent us over here to do research. See how I just made that up? And it lines perfectly. Here, Dawn's so incompetent, she can't even handle that situation and winds up having to call others to do things for her. This is not a good character return. And then, once she does wind up knee-deep in the plot of the situation, she does nothing for several episodes until it's time to fight Team Rocket again, where she just sort of tells Baneri to use Mega Punch. And then that's about it. Nothing else happens. There's nothing else she contributes. The entire plot just sort of moves its way forward. She talks to another Dawn, yes, but that's about it. And it's so sad to the point where the other Dawn doesn't have a personality that's any different than the Dawn that exists. The two are the same. Meanwhile, the other doppelgangers are supposed to be completely different. The Mirror Ash is much like the Mirror Ash in XY, who's completely sad, mopey, and incompetent. The Koharu from the other dimension is way more assured of herself. The other Go is a leader instead of a follower. So they didn't even do a good job helping our character development. But let's read the comments. Looks like I'm late. My phone did not seem to get it. Okay. Was reading Spy Family. How's everyone? Love the Dragon series. I have seen now Dragon. Yeah, alright. Also, it's interesting if a character comes back worse than the story behind it. Piplup should have ran away from her. I think it did run away from her, actually. That would have been interesting. It hurts because in Unova, she went to Nimbasa to study musicals to improve her contest appeals with some uniqueness. Yeah. Right, and we slowly then see them work past their issues. So yeah, again, another flop. And again, I'm not going to count the Amazon special. Plus, the Amazon special doesn't really do much towards her return. She uses Mana Swan to fight Team Galactic, but she already fought Team Galactic before, so this isn't that much different. I'm not going to count the Amazon special. It doesn't really do anything for or against her. It just sort of is there. So that one's a neutral ground. AU got the Koharu that's better than the main one. It's just sad. All Koharu clones are better than Koharu. Hell, the Koharu that had Espeon and Umbreon was better than the Koharu we got. It's more like Team Galactic focus. Yeah. So, again, a flop. The third flop. So, that brings us to Serena. I said that she was the good one. She's the one that didn't get the flop. Is this true? Yes. Is it XY biased? Or, oh, Tyrone, you reviewed XY, so obviously you're showing favoritism. Even though I just said that Karina's return was a flop too. You're just showing favoritism. She's a traveling companion. You're just a Serena simp and blah, 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 blah. Well, let's tackle it. Let's talk about it. Why do I think Serena's return was good? Well, first of all, Serena's already gaining a reputation before she even shows up on screen. A powerful Sylveon trainer that's somewhere in Hoenn. Okay, Koharu goes to investigate. When she's shown that it's Serena, sorry, I'm getting my names mixed up. Koharu refers to her as Miss. Someone you only do that with somebody that you deeply respect. That's someone that seems older, more mature, more respected, more revered. She didn't do that with Dawn. In fact, when she first met Dawn, and I'm using this screenshot to show it, she fell on her fucking ass. Because she got lost in the fucking woods. This is the same Dawn that traveled with Ash and Brock, and she's still getting lost? Leon getting lost is understandable because that's just a character trait that he has. But that's never been a character trait for Dawn, except at the beginning of her appearance. But after that, she says it. I traveled to Unova, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Johto. I did all of this shit. Yet for some reason, being able to direct herself just ain't working. But to go back to Serena, she basically breaks down her trials that she had with her Eevee and evolving into Sylveon. I caught my Eevee because I saw it dancing and I thought it would work out in my contest appeals, in my showcase appeals. When I caught Eevee and I had developed a bond between each other, and that was what was allowing us to evolve into Sylveon. So she explained it. Then she quotes what she learned from Ash, which is good. That is good. She is applying what she learned to the new character that's learning. The taught has now become the teacher. Oh. If you're ever unsure about something, give it a shot. Nothing's ever pointless. Even if you lose, something happens. Serena was about ready to give up after episode 60 because she had finally found a goal, and then once she found a goal, she immediately loses it, making her think that her decision was a wrong decision. That once she decided to finally break the mold of just training Rhyhorns for Rhyhorn races, which is something her mother wanted to do, not her, she finally decides to step out and make her own decision, only for it to fail. So she's having second guesses. But Ash, then she's reminded of Ash, even if you fail, you have something, and nothing is pointless. She then displays that information over to Koharu. She's teaching Koharu. During that moment they're sitting at the bench, Serena's doing nothing but giving Koharu knowledge, helping her grow, helping her, supporting her. Oh, you've had a long time deciding what you want to do as a person? I had that problem too. Here's how I did it. I gave things a shot. I threw caution out of the wind, and I was taught in order to go forward, and anything you do has some value to it. So move forward. Don't sit around and be indecisive. If you have time to be indecisive, you have time to be productive. These are the lessons Serena's teaching Koharu. And this is coming from a girl who didn't know what to do. This is coming from a girl whose only motivation to leave the house one day was that she saw somebody that she liked. And now look at her, able to be independent of Ash, stand on her own 2 feet, and actually teach somebody something and use that knowledge that she's gained in order to help somebody else. She's applying that knowledge. She's guiding a character. Her character didn't just advance one day and some other character who was by her side had to explain all her shit to Koharu. Like, oh yeah, Serena became Kalos Queen after she went to Hoenn, and then she went back to Kalos and did all of this amazing stuff and became better. She didn't wind up having her Pokemon evolve only to get the shit kicked out of them by Pokemon that just showed up. She didn't show up and then immediately go ta-da and fawned over Ash the whole time to the point where Koharu thinks that Serena's just embarrassing to be around. And then when she tries to focus on doing her contest, Serena just swoons about Ash the whole damn time to the point where she's not focused. So I just tackled all 3 of the other girls' problems and used them in this example. No, what she does is that she locks down, she's mature, she does an appeal round that's clearly better than Koharu's. Ties for first place. I don't like that. That's because Lucia had to be there and Oras was a game and they need to sell that fucking toy or whatever. We'll push that on the side. But she does at least become one of the top ones. She is out of that contest, she wins. Like, she ultimately is the best in that one. What's up, Rescue Squad? She is still the best. She's still considered the top one. To the point where an amazing idol, someone who has tons of fans, Lucia, is requesting that she work alongside Serena. They become a duo. So obviously Serena has some clout, some level of importance. She's referred to as someone who is very seasoned, experienced. And Koharu is amazed at her performance, her appeal round, and how good it is. It's admiration. It's clear that Serena gained some level of development, some character, something that shows that she is good, but she still inspires Koharu to become a better character. And as a result, Koharu's appeal round becomes a really good appeal. She ultimately is referred to with a very good performance just simply because Serena was able to help inspire her to move forward, to get her to try something, to do something new, to get her to step up. So it makes the Journey's original character look good while making Serena look good. This is how you do it. This is character development. This is how you treat a character that's returned. We see here that because of that, Serena has value. She has something to offer, while at the same time, she isn't falling to the wayside of the new character. She doesn't lose the contest to Koharu because Koharu's the new chick. She doesn't wind up once she sees Ash, she becomes a blushing mess or someone who has to obsess over him or, does some very uncomfortable move in order to show how much she loves Ash. She doesn't run in to try to kiss Ash again. No, she understands that Ash is doing his thing and he's getting better. So she's gonna get better. And she's already proven that she's good. She already has proven that at this point, she's got hundreds of fans watching her performances live along with Lucia. She has made her character known. And at the same time respects Ash and his character growth so that they can meet each other at a success point. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. If anything, it shows that she doesn't need to go the extra mile anymore. She is already set in stone and comfortable with who she is. To the point where she doesn't have to say anything. You can see it at the end of the episode that she is confident. She is assured of what happens. She is very involved in who she's become thanks to the development that she has gained over X and Y. That is a good return. That is how you make a character return. That is the prime definition. And she even goes out of her way to wish Koharu good luck in what she's doing. And Koharu refers to her in a respectable tone every time. There is never a level where she just has to bear with Serena like she did with Dawn. There is never a level where once this character gets stomped, that's sort of the end of that. They taught one thing and then that's the last of it. Like with Iris in the Go situation. There's never a point where once this character returns, they immediately have to be shown up by another character that's new and better, like with Karina and B. Serena's return also valued success not just from Koharu, but has gained respect from Lucia because Lucia comes to her to request for her to be a duo idol group. So it means that Serena holds just enough value to where even Lucia, a famous performer, is coming at her going, hey, can you collab with me? That way we can be way more famous. This is a famous fucking coordinator coming to another showcase performer and saying, let's be performers together. And then Serena teaches Koharu to become better. That is a better return. No matter how many ways you slice it, this is how you make a character return. And that was what I was talking about when I stated that out of all three of these girls, they flopped and Serena succeeded. Journeys did a good job writing her character. Yeah, that's what a saying, success breeds success. So yeah, that's my point. That's why I made that tweet on Twitter. And that's why I said what I said. And again, I welcome people to come in and disagree with me. I would definitely welcome to be challenged on my opinion because then we can talk about it. So far, the people that don't disagree with me haven't. I'm just saying, at least I've given you a full layer of almost an hour's worth of examples to justify my point. And they were well reviewed. Like they're using the source material, and it was me talking about all of those source materials to prove my point. Now, you all might also wonder, well, Tyrone, why'd you make that other tweet the other day where I asked what is my favorite return in the series, the whole series? Well, that's because I said May is my favorite return. Now, a lot of y'all are going to think, whoa, hold up. What's up with May's return? Why do you like that one so much? Why do you think that's the best episode in terms of returning characters? I wonder how the fans of Hikari feel how she was handled in Pokemon. Okay, so yeah. Why was May's character return my favorite? Well, you all have to look at the beginning of May and then look at this. Because that's another thing I did, was when I looked at all these characters' returns, I had to look at who they were versus who they are now. And like, again, Serena shows the most growth out of all of these. None of these others show the characters legitimately like growing exponentially from where they were. But May's episode shows completely well, because if you look at May's episode from when she started, when May first started in AG, she didn't like Pokemon. She didn't even like the damn things. She thought Pokemon just sort of existed. Like, they were there, but I don't even think she hated them. I think she just knew they were there, and she was like, whatever, Pokemon. My dad's a gym leader. My dad's a gym leader, and my brother won't shut the fuck up about him. But me, I just want to go shopping. Like, I just want to go shopping and eat food. Bitches just want to make money and get fat. Like, that was her character, sadly enough. She was a tourist. At heart, she was a tourist. And that's the whole reason she went on the journey. The whole reason she went on the journey wasn't to gain gym badges and enter a Pokemon League. Girl wanted to travel just so that she could get an all-expense paid trip. That's literally her only goal, was to live it up in Hoenn. Then she later discovers contest thanks to Drew and, starts to become her own. She learns how to battle from Ash and, stuff like that. So she does legitimately wind up learning. But at the start, girl didn't even care about Pokemon. She thought Pokemon were nothing more than just bitches just want to make money and get fat. She just wanted to, May's expeditions. Yeah, She just wanted to live it up. She could give a shit less about Pokemon. When she told Mudkip to use Water Gun, the thing sprayed in her face. Like, she had no control of the situation whatsoever. When she caught Torchic, it was just running around like a mess. To them, I meant autocorrect. Yeah, I got what you meant. So, yeah, like it was a mess. It was a goddamn mess. So May, you look at May back then versus May now, and you'll be astounded by her character development. So when May comes back, what does she do? Well, the first thing she does when she comes back is that she gives Ash and Brock some gifts. And she also gives Dawn a gift. Well, hold up. She doesn't even know who Dawn is. Why is she giving her a gift? Probably because she's considerate. She likes shopping, but we'll use, for the sake of this video, she's considerate. She gives her a gift, and she gives her a keychain, a Piplup keychain. And I find that actually pretty interesting too, because that means that she had to have known that Dawn's starter Pokemon, and the Pokemon she currently has, is Piplup. So that means she put Dawn into consideration. She's earning a point, and she just got here. Upon return, she gives the others gifts, so she's considerate, and gives a gift that actually shows that she actually knows who Dawn is and thought about her. She makes the statement that Ash told me everything about you. Kind of weird. I don't know why Ash did that, but hey, he did it. The point is, she knows a lot about Dawn, and she used that knowledge to her advantage. She says, I heard that you've been having some insecurities basically on what has happened so far during your contest. Oh, so she's learning of Dawn's plight, and she's relating to it. And Johto, I've been getting my ass kicked by Drew and Harley. Okay, this shows that she's gained some development, and she's telling the others what she's been through. So she's going through a trial. Things are going on with her character. But she still shows that she earned ribbons. Aha! So that means even with the plights that she's been going through, she still is able to gain ribbons and get through things. She earned 3 in Johto. So that obviously means that she's been doing stuff with her life. Okay. She came to Sinnoh before meeting up with Ash and the others so that she can evolve Eevee into Glaceon. That means she went out of her way to go to Snow Point City and evolve Eevee into Glaceon so that she can get stronger. So she's gaining development and gaining strength and even applied knowledge that the others didn't know about to help enhance herself. She reserves a restaurant for the others, so she's already again considerate of the others. She does a battling restaurant in consideration of what Ash likes to do, Pokemon battles. When the food ends up getting kidnapped, she tells her Munchlax in order to smell out the food, along with telling someone else's Munchlax, the rich lady who was there, to use her Munchlax in order to help sniff out the food as well to find Team Rocket. Ah, a solution. There's a problem here, and May already knows a solution based on the journey that she went through with Ash and Brock, using a Pokemon's best traits to its advantage in order to gain a solution to an otherwise unsolvable problem. Once she meets and confronts Team Rocket, she's able to take charge. She's the one that initiates the battle. She's the one that tells, that is taking charge in order to fight Team Rocket first. She even tells Brock and Ash to not compete in the fight because she wants the chance in order to prove herself and in order to do her battle so that she can earn her food. Even after the fight, Ash and Brock say that May's the one that did all the work, not us, because she did. Her Munchlax is the one that found Team Rocket, along with the rich girls. Her Glaceon is the one that shows off its strength. Dawn is able to fight alongside her, which means she views Dawn as an equal. She views her into consideration, but Dawn still refers to her as the Princess of Hoenn. She looks up to her, but she looks up to Dawn as an even, so Dawn doesn't fall in the background of this situation. Her and Dawn wind up doing a double battle against Team Rocket to beat them. May and Dawn still wind up doing their battle, even though they technically didn't have to at this point, because after saving the food, they're allowed to get away and just eat dinner for free. But they still wind up doing the fight anyway, just to kill time. And during that fight, May tells Dawn to tell Piplup to use Bubble Beam again. So May's calling the shots. Why is she doing that? So she can combine that Bubble Beam and whirlpool situation with the fire spin situation, a fire-water combo. The same tactic she learned from Tucker, which was the same thing she learned in AG from watching Ash's fight. So she's applying knowledge not even just from the Grand Festival. She's applying knowledge that she gained from watching Ash fight in the Battle Frontier, which she later uses in the battle in the Grand Festival, and then uses again in this episode. So she's applied her knowledge twice. And Brock even compliments on how much stronger the combo is. And this time she's using the combo with a Pokemon that's not even hers. She's using it with a Piplup that belongs to somebody else and a Blaziken that is now fully evolved. She's applied this knowledge twice at this point. So now, in addition to that, she also talks about how she wants to enter the Wallace Cup and figured that would be a good chance in order to show off her skills with Glaceon. And even shows to be impressed when Ash decides to enter it as well. During that entire episode, we see from start to finish a character that didn't like Pokemon go as far as to take charge, use a Pokemon's sensory skills to its advantage, be the prominent action, tell the other characters what to do, look good in front of everyone, even show off hilarious traits of getting mad because her food got stolen. And that kind of gets Dawn to be a little worried about May, but May still winds up taking charge. She takes charge the entire time. The episode clearly has Ash, Brock, and Dawn as the main characters, because that's who's on the fucking cover art of the damn anime. But it's very clear that for this episode, May is in full control. Also, she changes her design to the Pokemon Emerald design, which I thought was a nice touch. But the point is, we clearly see that while she's been away, she comes back and is completely competent the entire time. She even beats Zoe, someone who, if we know, has beaten has beaten Dawn. Now, I get why, unfortunately, she had to lose to Dawn. But we can at least argue that at this point, May has taught Dawn some stuff and uses that knowledge to her advantage to beat May. And also, the Wallace Cup is very conditioned. You can only really use water and ice type Pokemon in this contest. So we can argue that May's probably not fighting at her fullest. She's not using Blaziken, she's not using Munchlax, she's not using Skitty, Beautifly, or any of her other Pokemon that probably would have changed this shit around. She's not even using Venusaur, for Christ's sakes. But yeah, during all of that, she's using Wartortle and Glaceon, I believe, during that entire time. Oh, it's open to all Pokemon? Wait. Oh, you know what? You want to know what it is? The Wallace Cup mostly has water type shit in it, though. That's what it is. Yeah, the water types have the advantage. So yeah, it was. I'll say it was more catered towards water type Pokemon, but it's very clear that May probably used her like not as experienced Pokemon, which is true. I believe out of all her Pokemon, I think Squirtle and Eevee were her newest ones. So we can argue that Squirtle and Eevee were probably her least experienced Pokemon in the group that she had. More experienced than Dawn's Pokemon, but given the situation, also Dawn needed to win because the show didn't have enough time to have her lose to another goddamn coordinator. So unfortunately May had to fall there, but that was later. At least in her debut episode, she's very competent, like the whole time around, and she's never really thrown to the wayside outside of that, like other than her losing to Dawn, but they try to at least make up for it by having her beat Zoe. So it's very clear that while she can't beat Dawn, unfortunately, or at least lose to Dawn, they at least try to have her, like, change it around by beating a coordinator who Dawn can't beat. And, like, even in the Grand Festival, Dawn loses to Zoe. So from there, we can at least see that May is more competent than the more competent coordinator. It kind of shows that no coordinator can really, like, ultimately beat another one. It can vary just based on situations. And Orionsaur just brought it up. Imagine if Blaziken had fought Piplup. Then, yeah, she would have beat the shit out of her. So we can see it. She used Venusaur and Beautifly. Zoe had Glameow, but the appeal and had Shellos and Finian. But yeah, she lost with her most recent Mon that just evolved and got new moveset, so she was handicapped. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, but with that being said, like, it's very clear May's return in Diamond and Pearl was definitely very well utilized. She even like promotes Ash when he makes the suggestion to enter the Wallace Cup as well. Although I don't like that Ash loses to some nobody. I kind of wish he had lost to like, May or some other character like Zoe or some shit. But whatever, I'm not gonna focus too hard on that. The point being though, is that with that all being said, it's very clear that when that happens, May, a character that again didn't like Pokemon, didn't even like them, couldn't command a Pokemon to do an attack, couldn't do anything of any relevance at the start of her journey, only went on the journey so that she could see tourist attractions and eat food and shop. And now look at her. She's been to Johto, she's got experience, she's seasoned, she's telling other trainers and people what to do so that they can work towards making a solution for problems to situations. She takes full control. She even winds up beating a top coordinator in the Wallace Cup. Like, it's very clear that this is a trainer, this is a character who went from start to finish and became a better person for it. AG, along with DP, helped make this character's return a character that definitely seems like she's seasoned, like she's gained something, experience, value. She's not just somebody who winds up showing up as a stepping stone for another character to get better. She actually provides information and helps it with insecurities, conflicts, problems, elevates the character while still maintaining a level of respect and accountability of herself. This is a good character development. This is how you use the character return. This is how you treat a character when they return to the series. And this is one of the reasons that I feel like returns can be done well in certain situations. Now, if you all have watched any of my old stuff or seen me on the Pokepod or heard me on the Pokepod or whatever, you will know that my feelings towards returns are usually that they shouldn't be oversaturated, because then it doesn't help give the characters that currently exist time to shine. Because I know the community, and I know that more people will be focused on what's familiar instead of what's developed. The reason that people like when characters return so badly because of let me change that sentence over. The reason that people like returning characters so much is because these characters gain that level of development when they were in their own series. Like them or hate them, these characters gain development when they were in their former series, so they warrant the chances for returns when they do come back, because then you can go, oh, I remember that character because this character did A, B, C, and D during their series. But if you oversaturate a series with returns, then you can't remember the characters that currently exist. What the fuck are you supposed to say about Go and Koharu? It leaves you with very little, because Go and Koharu had no choice but to sit in the background or play backseat to characters that already existed in the series. Oh, I remember Go. He gained character development, I guess, during Gary's return. But I was mostly focused on Gary, so I don't give a shit about Go. Oh, I remember when Koharu and Dawn were together, but I like Diamond and Pearl more than Journeys, so that was just me focused on Dawn. Like, you see the problem here? You see the issue is that the reason I've always stated that I like the fact that Pokemon XY and XYZ didn't do all of that is because they didn't need to. They knew that they had a story to tell, and they want to flesh out their characters enough to tell that story. And honestly, as much as I liked the Serena episode of Journeys, even if we didn't get it, I would have been fine, because again, they did a good job with Serena's character in X and Y. It's good to see that they gave her a good epilogue episode, and I honestly don't want to see her come back at all, at least for as long as this goes. But for me, like, they did a good job with her. They capped her off very well. But that's like one out of these 4 situations that I've already stated. 1 out of 4. That means 3 others. And that's not even counting other characters. I counted the girls because they're all female trainers that travel with Ash at some point. But I'm not even counting like Clement's situation, where I like the fact that Clement helps Ash train, but I don't like the fact that his Pokemon get one-shotted instantly. So there's that. Gary returns, and everybody's focused on Gary, and it's very clear that he's as competent pretty much as he was in Diamond and Pearl. The problem is that now he has this new weird shtick where he has to make fun of Go just to get him stronger, even though he didn't do that with any of Ash's other traveling companions. So it feels oddly out of place. Or when Infernape returns. Yeah, I'm gonna count Pokemon too. When Infernape returns only to get completely bitch smacked by Moltres. Like, all of those situations. Or when Sophocles returns and it's a good Sun and Moon episode, which is great, but it doesn't do Go any favors. Go's just there. He just exists. Like, that's the problem with these though, is that they never go out of their way to help the characters grow. Hell, Clement's voice actor himself said, I wish Clement and Go had more time to, talk to each other and develop. Now, when the voice actor himself flat out goes, I don't think your character you introduced in your original series is gaining any development, that's the problem. That's the issue. Like, Jesus Christ, you don't even have the characters interact with the older characters well enough to warrant them to return. They fixed that problem with Serena and Koharu, thankfully. But before that, they just, it's a mess. They have Koharu communicate with Dawn, but it's already on bad terms at the start, and then they have to just become friends later. Hell, Clement and Bonnie never call out Go's name if he did the same. I mean, for fuck's sake, I don't even think Serena says a goddamn word to Go in that episode. Like, I don't even know what to say about this. So another voice actor makes a comment on how the story of Pocket Monsters is handled. That certainly is not good. Dawn's voice actor, for fuck's sakes, didn't even like how she was handled at first. Like, this ain't it. This ain't it. And I make these comments and I make them under the impression that people will understand where I'm coming from as someone who, again, watches this series to give it a chance in order to break it down analytically and talk with others and have a productive conversation about how this form of media is held. It's art. And art obviously is subjective. So obviously my opinions will never line up with everybody's perfectly. But when I explain my criticisms, and then when someone has something against my criticisms, and rather than having a productive conversation where we could have a healthy debate on the topic, this just devolves into, oh, you're just mad because blah, blah, blah. You just saying some outlandish thing. No, not what I'm saying isn't outlandish. It's a constructive, analyzed criticism that I made based off of, one, my opinion on how things were being handled, and two, my research when watching the episode and other episodes that are similar to this one. Dawn and Koharu in the opening act like best friends. Nope, Serena and Go never said a single word. Gary's voice actor only knows Gary was returning after the fans tagged her. Well, in the case of Serena meeting Go, I can excuse it given that they met right when they were leaving, so it's likely Serena didn't pay him no mind. If they had met sooner, then I could see it being plausible for Serena. I mean, I can still counter that argument by stating the fact that Koharu had already got a call from Go earlier, and Serena was like, what, you're friends? And she briefly goes into Go, but never really talks about Ash, and that's unfortunately because the story has to gear its way out of not mentioning Ash in front of Serena, because Ash and Serena can't fucking meet each other, obviously. So, but at the end, Serena could have literally just went, oh, so that was that's one of your friends, and then notice, oh, Ash is here too, they could have easily had Go run it first before Ash. And then Go could have introduced himself or at least said hi to her. But they didn't do that. Go, for the sake of writing, the focus was on Ash and Serena. And because of that, Go had to basically sit backseat. But that doesn't help the show's case. Again, these characters have no choice But Koharu and Go are the new characters, and they have no choice but to sit background to all these old people that Ash had once discovered on his journey, which means that the show doesn't get the chance to do anything. Go was even seeing the contest on his phone. Yeah, they never mention Ash at all when it comes to old companions as well. I mean, Go is irrelevant when past characters return. It was the same with Karina. Again, and that's a problem. That's what the problem is. Which is why, like I said, I don't care for characters being oversaturatedly brought back. Maybe cameo appearances are nice, but they don't need to be shoved in an episode every time the show needs to bring its audience back. Because then you're not watching the episode, you're not watching Journeys to watch Journeys. You're watching Journeys to see, ooh, which character will make me feel nostalgic today. And that doesn't make for a healthy relationship. That just doesn't. Like, that's like saying, I hate the way this family treats me. I hate the way my family treats me. And the moment I get older, I'm going to leave and live on my own. But then you don't move out. And it's like, why didn't you move out? Well, I don't like the way they treat me, but I like this apple pie that they made when I was a child. It reminds me of my youth. Like, that's not a good excuse. Stop coming back to this apple pie. Like, it's not a justifiable reason. You want to see how this show works. I've made this statement a million times before. It's like, the reason I don't really care for these characters coming back is because I want to see how Journeys handles itself. How does Journeys tackle its problems? How does Journeys handle these situations? How will Go develop as a character? Not how other characters will show up and Go may or may not get influenced by them. I want to see how Koharu develops as a character. Not, oh, Koharu knows this one person that may or may not, like, help her, but mostly this character is known for their debut in this one show I watched. I want to see how Journeys handles this. I want to see these characters develop. So, when these characters do come back, and I make criticisms about how they came back, I mean, that can warrant anger or happiness or whatever emotion you feel like you need to have. But if you're going to come at it, then come at it with some level of debate. And that's why I say what I say. And that's why I went down and just broke down an analyst of all these characters and how I feel about their debut and why I feel their return was either a flop or a success. I gave you 3 solid examples of flops. I gave you 2 solid examples of success returns. And I pointed out and bullet pointed each of them. It seems past decades, people were not having healthy engagement with their nostalgia. And I'm sure that's still the case today. This is why I'm curious about Go and Tokyo's mission. If it's just them. It's more of a reason we have a hard... Whoa, Jesus Christ. What's up, Arthur? That scared the crap out of me. Thank you for the follow. Also, that means we're 3 followers away from 700. So yeah, we're 300 followers away from the 700 following board. So I can't wait till we get to that level. It's more of a reason we have a hard time connecting with Go and Koharu, and we compare and hate strongly and dislike. We got what we got with the 2. Okay. Journeys wants the privilege of continuity, but not the consequence. This show just feels like a nostalgic checkup. Pretty much. That actually, I love that analogy. Nostalgic checkup. That actually works. I like that. I like that phrasing. A nostalgic checkup. This is why I'm curious about Go and Tokyo. Okay, I already read that one. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, and just to round this out, because we're almost at the 2-hour mark. That's pretty much my feelings on the matter. I'm gonna post this one on YouTube because, again, a lot of people had strong words against what I said. Like, these people retweeted what I said, and immediately, even if we look at the comments, let me go to the comments real fast, actually. Yeah, let's go to the comments. I know the comments. We had people say, this is cap. Yeah, somebody said this is cap, even though, again, watch my video. How is it a flop? Iris came back as a champion. The fuck you talking about? Again, I explained that. How is Iris return a flop? I just explained that. Like, a lot of these people are just very, like, confused as to why I made the statement. And obviously, they deserve an explanation. And that's why I gave this explanation. I know the flaws of Karina and Iris's return. But why do you think Dawn's return was a flop? I explained that. I understand the point of Iris, who must have won the. I understand the point for Iris, who must have won the battle. Iris and Karina's returns were great. You obviously have very strange takes on characters losing, meaning that I don't care if a character lose. I want to make that clear too. I don't care if the character loses. The character doesn't have to win to make the return great. But however, the battle has to at least show that they've gained something, and they didn't. Like they didn't. The battle doesn't do a good job of showing that they got any better than what they were. And it's not even just the battle, it's the context of it. Never mind the fact that they lost, it's the fact that they lost to a Pokemon that Ash just caught and barely understand himself. That's my issue. My issue is that Ash wins with Pokemon that he doesn't have much real understanding with, versus trainers who have very great understanding of their Pokemon and how they work. That's what my issue is. Every one of them have good strategies involved. I've countered that. The Iris and Karina returns were good. Again, I've argued against that. You didn't like Iris and is now a champion. It's not the fact that she's a champion. It's the fact that Drayden does an exposition vomit on Go that she's a champion. She couldn't be an astronaut, and that'd be she couldn't be an astronaut. That's pretty much taken by Sophocles. I guess that was like a joke post. Lucia and Serena good. Okay, that's going into what we're saying. Okay, Iris was good, just horribly flawed. Both Iris and Karina suffered from being forced into Pokemon World Championship arcs, while Dawn did generally fought. I like this one. I like this one. This one makes sense, actually. This one states that they're flawed. This one's pretty much going off to say that Iris did good with her communication with Dragon-type Pokemon, but everything else was horribly flawed, and she was forced into the World Championship arc. I like that. Now that makes sense. I can agree with that. So it does show that I'm at least reading and understanding what some of these people have to say. Iris has the best return of all girls. A lot of people are leaning towards that Iris thing, which again, I've already explained my case on that. They all had generally great returns. A lot of people, I think they're just mad at the fact that I stated that the returns are flops, which is a knee-jerk emotional response to the fact that I pretty much directly criticized them. And then obviously when they watch this video later, because for most of these I'm going to go back on Twitter, and once I upload this on YouTube, I'm going to send a link to the video explaining all of these so that they have content to watch too. Because again, I'm proving my case, and it's harder to do that on Twitter when you only have a limited amount of characters. So I think the best way to prove my case is to use my best talents, and my best talents are making videos and streaming. So I'm going to use my talent to my advantage to prove my point. Anyway, Tom, have you seen the recent Journeys episode? I have, and we'll talk about that during the Pokepod. I don't have any strong feelings on it just yet. I feel like Iris needs to explain her progress and growth to Go and Go alone, since they have similar academic backgrounds. Go even has a Flygon, and Aerodactyl, and Eternatus. Has anyone made a video in which they ranted on your takes? No, they haven't. Most of the people that usually argue against me or have like this strong emotional attack against me for my opinions, they usually never make a video, or they never lay out or do the research or do the format. They usually just go off to say that, dude, you're wrong. And then here, I'm gonna explain why you're wrong by this haphazard, very quick tweet. And then they never go in and out of their way to use episode examples. They never go out of their way to bring in some screenshots to show like visual examples. They present me with no facts. And like Koru said, they don't even watch my videos. And again, this isn't me trying to plug my videos. This is me using my videos as a point to show some context as to where the research that I have is coming from. So in recent episodes, they don't even focus on the story. So what's the point? Recent episodes don't even focus on the story. So what's the point? But yeah, we're at the 2-hour mark pretty much now. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I thank you all. We got 22 viewers as a total. We're probably going to migrate into TSS's stream. I think TSS is streaming. But that was pretty much my case. My case is that, and I felt it would be disingenuous for me to just put that tweet and then have these people be upset and not like further elaborate. So this video was more or less a chance for me to elaborate on what I wanted to say when I stated that these characters were indeed flopped returns. Oh, he's not streaming now. Okay, we'll raid somebody else then. All I figure is I do not watch a video given the comments, but it's a shame that way. Oh, I figure I do not watch the video given the comments, but yeah, I'm not. Again, so with that being said, I'm going to try to upload this video up to YouTube as fast as I can because I want to send this video out to the people who disagree. And this isn't me trying to like, and as you've noticed, obviously, I've never insulted any of the people who disagree with me. I've never called them anything. I've never insulted their intelligence or said they're stupid or said they're a flop like they did me or any of that. I'm sending this video on the good notes of, within good faith, basically. I'm sending this video in good faith that I'm trying to speak to them in a way that they may not recognize. I mean, hell, if you all remember, I showed you all a tweet of someone literally stating, back then I didn't like your takes on Journeys, but after watching a couple of the pod sessions and listening to the TG3 roundtable and hearing some of what you have to say, I'm starting to see what you're saying now. Like, that was a great moment because it showed that I was able to convince someone in a healthy way the mindset that I was saying, or at least show my opinions and to show that they're understanding. Doesn't even necessarily mean that they have to agree, but it does at least show that they're listening and understanding from where my takes and where I'm coming from. Whereas Twitter, from what I mostly see, it's just a big tug of war of your opinion is wrong because my opinion is right, and fuck you for believing anything else. And that's not good, productive conversation. But again, thank you guys. 22 viewers. You guys didn't have to spend your Saturday afternoon listening to me talk for 2 hours, but you guys made that decision to do that, and I really appreciate it. So be on the lookout for this on YouTube if you want to watch the full version of it and you had to like leave briefly or take some breaks or something like that. Or hell, if you just want to hear my voice again, or if you want to like hear my takes again while like, you know, doing some studying or reading a book or, you know, studying for some tests that you probably are putting off for a while. But yeah, with that being said, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do a quick commercial break and then we're going to do a raid. And thank you all so much for sticking around.